Think about your earliest memory. Maybe it's a birthday party, maybe it's a family trip, maybe it's just a small random moment, the smell of a room, the sound of a voice. You carry it with you as proof that it happened, proof that you were there. But here's the question, how much of that memory is real? We like to imagine memory as a recording, like a video stored in the mind. You press play and it shows you exactly what happened. But memory doesn't work that way. Memory is not a recording, it's a reconstruction. Each time you remember, you rebuild it from pieces. And when you rebuild, things change. A color shifts, a word disappears, a face becomes blurry, or worse, a detail appears that never existed in the first place. That means the past you carry is unstable, it's fragile, it's fake, and the more you remember, the less accurate it becomes. Memories don't become clearer with time. They become stories. Stories that bend each time they're told. Stories that evolve until they no longer match the original moment at all. But here's the strange thing. You don't notice. You still believe the story, even when it's changed beyond recognition. And so your life, your identity, the person you think you are, is built not on facts, but on fiction. You say, I am who I am because of my past, but what if the past you think you lived never actually existed that way? Philosophers have always questioned this. Nietzsche called memory a fabrication. Bergson said it flows, never fixed. Modern science only proves what they already suspected, that memory is not history, it is invention. And if memory is invention, then so are you. The you that feels certain, the you that clings to regret, the you that longs for nostalgia. All of it is based on memories that are not stable, not trustworthy, not real. So ask yourself, if your memories are false, then what exactly are you? A self, or just a collection of stories your mind keeps rewriting? This is not comforting, it is unsettling, because if the past is fake, then the self built on that past is also fake. Your identity is not solid ground, it's sand, and every time you remember, it shifts again. Yet you go on living as if it were real, as if it were the foundation of your life, as if you could trust it. But behind the confidence, there is only uncertainty. Behind the story, there is only silence. The past is fake, and still, you carry it. Your memories do not belong to you alone. They are not private possessions, sealed away, untouched. They are shaped quietly, constantly, by the world around you. Think of how often you remember something because someone told you about it. A friend repeats a story from a night you barely recall. Slowly, their version becomes your version. And years later, you tell it back as if you had lived it exactly that way. Or think of old family photos. You look at a picture of yourself as a child, standing in front of a cake. You don't remember the cake, you don't remember the moment, but you remember the photograph. The image becomes the memory. And the real event, whatever it truly was, disappears. This happens on a larger scale too. Movies, advertisements, news, social media, they don't just shape how you see the present, they rewrite how you remember the past. An ad shows you what a happy childhood looks like, and suddenly your own childhood feels different, compared against a story that was never yours. A film shows you what love is supposed to look like, and when you look back at your relationships, you measure them against a script that was handed to you, not written by you. Even entire nations do this. History books are not neutral. They select, they edit, they glorify, they erase, and generation after generation inherits those memories as if they were truth. So when you say, I know my past, you must ask, whose past is it? Yours? Or the one culture whispered to you? The one photographs forced into your mind? The one rewritten by stories, retellings, algorithms, headlines? The unsettling truth is this: memory is not only fragile, it is political, it is cultural, it is collective, and much of what you remember is not memory at all. It is suggestion. It is influence. It is the echo of voices that spoke long after the moment had passed. The past you carry may not be your own. If memory is fragile, if memory is manipulated, then what happens to truth? We imagine truth as something fixed, a fact written in stone. But what you call truth is often nothing more than a memory repeated enough times that no one dares to question it. Think about it. A person wronged you years ago. You replay that memory, you polish it, you reinforce it, and now it feels absolute, unchangeable. But what if you misremembered? What if their words were not as sharp as you recall? What if the expression on their face was different? What if your own anger rewrote the moment? Then the truth you carry is not truth at all. It's perspective, it's invention, and it defines the way you see that person and yourself, even decades later. Now scale that up. Whole nations, whole cultures, each with their own memories, each with their own stories. One group's truth becomes another group's lie, each side certain, each side blind. So what is truth if every truth rests on memory? and memory itself is unstable. And if truth collapses, what happens to the self? Who are you without the chain of memories you cling to? Without the childhood you think you remember? Without the pain, the victories, the milestones? What is left of you if all of it is built on illusions? Perhaps there is no solid self. Perhaps there is only a stream, a flow of impressions, rewritten endlessly, each moment birthing the next. Not a self, but a story. Not a truth, but a narrative. This is why philosophers have always doubted memory. Because if the self is memory, and memory is unreliable, then the self is an illusion too. The past is fake, and the self is built on the past. So what are you? A person, or just a fragile story, telling itself again and again, until it mistakes itself for truth? If the past is fragile, if the self is unstable, why do we still cling to it? Because illusion is comfortable. A perfect memory, even if false, feels safer than uncertainty. A clear story of who you are, even if invented, feels less frightening than admitting you don't know yourself. We choose comfort over truth, not because we are weak, but because truth unsettles. It destabilizes. It strips away the ground we thought we stood on. Think of nostalgia. It is rarely accurate. The past you long for was never as perfect as you recall, but it feels good to believe it was. It feels good to imagine a childhood untouched by fear, a relationship purer than it ever was, a time when things seemed whole. We protect these illusions. We defend them, polish them, retell them, because without them, life feels raw, uncertain, unbearable. And so illusion becomes the cage, a cage we love, a cage we decorate, a cage we refuse to leave. The philosopher Baudrillard once said that we live not in reality, but in simulations, copies of things that never existed. Your memories are exactly that, simulations you've mistaken for truth, and the more comfortable they feel, the less likely you are to question them. But comfort is dangerous, because every time you choose it, you move further from truth. Every time you accept the lie of memory, you strengthen the cage, until one day, the cage is all you know. Illusion feels like safety, but it is really confinement. It keeps you asleep. It keeps you blind. The past is fake, but comfort convinces you that the fake is enough, that the fake is all you need. So where does this leave you? If memory is fragile, if truth collapses, if comfort is a cage, then what is left of you? Without the past, there is no clear self. Without memory, there is no solid story. And without a story, what are you really? Perhaps you are not a person at all, but a process, a shifting narrative told again and again until it mistakes itself for permanence. But permanence never comes. Each day rewrites the past. Each recollection erases and invents at the same time. And what you call you is nothing more than the echo of those inventions. That is the final illusion. Not just that the past is fake, but that the self built upon it was ever real. This thought is uncomfortable. Most people turn away from it. They choose the story. They choose the lie. They choose the comfort of a false past because the alternative is emptiness. But perhaps the philosophers were right. What we call the self is only a story, a fragile fiction held together by memory. And when memory dissolves, the self dissolves with it. So ask yourself right now, if the past is fake and the self is only the shadow of the past, then who or what are you?